In the last 365 days, I've spent over $1 million on Facebook advertising. And in today's video, I'm actually going to share with you the 4 most important steps and strategies that I've learned along the way. These are simple strategies that if I would have learned earlier, not only would it have saved me tens of thousands of dollars in testing, but it would have saved me tens of thousands of dollars in overall budget. So I know what you guys are thinking, right? It's super easy for me to say that I have spent over $1 million on Facebook. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop on into the Business Manager and get the proof out of the way. Okay guys, we are now onto the live ad account and the Business Manager. Now just a quick few caveats before we go ahead and get going. We are kind of condensed into the screen here. I've just kind of moved the screen a little bit out of the way so you guys don't see the client names and things like that. And that's the other caveat that I wanted to mention, is that this is the $1 million spent over the last year has been spent across a ton of different client accounts, as we do run a marketing agency. If you need any help, a link down below to get more information. But that's not what this video is about, guys. So like I said, I just wanted to quickly run through the different ad accounts to show you that yes, over the last 365 days, get that proof out of the way that we have spent over $1 million. And again, just let me quickly refresh the ad account so you know that this is legit, right? We aren't looking at some screenshots here and whatnot. We are actually looking at a few live different ad accounts. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Like I said, I'm going to run through the ad accounts quite quickly because there are around over 20 accounts and I don't want to sit here and just look at the numbers individually. So starting off, guys, 88 grand spent on this account, and around another 22,000 here, 267,000, 20,000, 21,000, 22,000, 53,000 here. I'll refresh them just so you guys know it's 100% legit. Another 139 grand, 23,000, just 13 grand, $59,000 spent there. 6,800, 30 grand, 59,000, 6 grand here, another 6 grand, 235,000 in euros, and then finishing off with another 26,000. And again, I'll just finally refresh that so you know it's legit. So over the last 365 days, guys, we have spent over $1 million. And like I said, in this video, what I'm gonna be going over and sharing with you is the 4 most important things that I wish I would have learned prior, because I would have saved a hell of a lot of money here testing as well as overall budget. So let's go ahead and get on into the video, and I'll see you guys in the next clip. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the strategy and the number one thing that I've learned along the way, and that's actually going to be that your Facebook ad strategy really doesn't matter. Now, I know what you're thinking, like what the hell is this guy talking about? You know, that's kind of why you're on this video. Well, I'm telling you right now, that's what you really shouldn't be focusing on, is your ad buying strategy, because there's so many more important parts to this puzzle that if you're really focusing on that, you're going to get lost up in the thousands and thousands of different tutorials that are on YouTube, essentially showing you guys the same strategies in different ways. And really, like I said, that's not what you should be focusing on. And what you should be focusing on is essentially the 3 other things that I've learned throughout this process of spending $1 million in the last year. And let's go ahead and touch on that now. Out of all of the Facebook strategies that exist, there's one thing that you guys need to be focusing on, because it stays constant throughout any iOS changes or literally anything, right? These are evergreen subjects, and it's actually going to be your product, your creative, and your offer. Now, if you guys can understand these 3 most important things, and that's exactly what we're going to do in this video, is dive on in depth into each, you're going to be able to win every single time on Facebook. Okay, so let's go ahead and break down all 3 of those, starting with the most important, and that's actually going to be product, because in today's world of Facebook advertising, you simply cannot sell a bad product on that platform, right? Because gone are the days of drop shipping these low quality products that people buy once, they end up getting them, looking at them, they're absolute trash quality, they throw them out, leave a bad review on the brand. Facebook's cracking down on things like that. And when you're focusing on creating a product or thinking about something that you want to sell online, you need to be focusing on these 3 simple things, right? Firstly, it needs to be able to scale online and be profitable, right? So you need to have healthy margins. And oftentimes when you're drop shipping, the margins are pretty crap, right? Because there's so many things involved that you're actually losing money out on. But as well as that, you need to be selling things that are branded, right? High quality items that are going to have the ability to have your customers come back, and something for you to build a lifetime value around that customer. And then lastly, the thing that you need to be focusing on is not reinventing the wheel, right? You're not trying to come up and sell the next sliced bread, okay? You want to be coming into niches in terms of a product, that things that are already selling, things that are already winning, and you know you can come on in and get your tiny little piece of the pie, right? And that's the most important part, is like I mentioned, right? You're not trying to reinvent sliced bread. In terms of your product, you want to come in these niches that are already selling. Maybe you know something that there's a bit of a bigger opportunity, but just keep that in mind when you're focusing on your product. Don't try and reinvent the wheel, focus on what's already working. Okay guys, so moving on to number 2, which is actually going to be creative. Now this is almost tied for number 1 as it really is important, and I'm not going to dive too much in depth into this video today in terms of creative because I'm actually saving that for its own individual video as it really is that important. What I do want to say in today's video in terms of creative is that it's key, right? Creative is king. We're on these social media platforms where the consumer is not there to purchase something, right? They're there to be entertained. So when you're creating ads, you need to have the ability to create high engaging and just highly entertaining photo and video ads because like I mentioned, right, we're on social media and creative is so important because unfortunately in today's society, people do judge a book by its cover. So having the ability and the strength and the skill to create super high engaging ads is so important. And one other quick note I do want to mention, guys, is that having a great creative actually can save a mediocre product, but not the other way around. So that's something you guys really need to think about, is that of course you do want to have that mix in terms of having a really strong product, but like I mentioned, you need to have an extremely strong creative because not only are your consumers just skeptical overall, but there's that much competition that you need to stand out from your competitors and show your consumer why you are the right decision to buy from. Okay guys, so number 3 is going to be your offer. Now this is so important, right? Without a strong offer, guys, it's almost impossible to scale your business profitably online because this is what can happen, right? If you make $1 million and you make only 5% profit, what's the point, right? And that's the consequence of having a poor offer. And a few things that you can use to have a stronger offer are simple things like bundles, upsells, cross sells, subscription models, and you testing out these different little strategies that I just mentioned is going to allow your business to find out, okay, what is the right model that we need to be using to scale profitably online. And one other thing that I want to mention is in terms of creating a strong offer, guys, is simply what we like to call KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid, right? Because essentially when you're advertising to your consumer, if you have an offer that's super confusing and hard to understand, they're just going to skip right past it, right? They're seeing thousands and thousands of ads a day. So when someone sees your offer, if you're advertising a sale of some sort or maybe a new collection, whatever, people need to understand exactly what you're offering them within basically 2 seconds, okay? And that's what I wanted to end this video off on, guys, is if you can combine those 3 simple strategies that I've just mentioned, your product, your creative, and your offer, you're going to win every single time and beat your competitors because you're not going to have to worry too much about your Facebook advertising strategies. Essentially, you can put your 5-year-old niece in there, give her some budget, and she's going to be able to come out profitable because you have those 3 other important pillars nailed down packed. And if your competitors don't, like I said, you're going to win every single time. So to end this video off, guys, I just wanted to run you through a few quick store examples that actually have all of these 3 in place. So you can kind of get a good visual as to what you should be looking out for. And then just a few final tips to end the video off. Okay guys, so we're back on the computer. Now what I wanted to do in this part of the video is actually just share with you and walk you guys through a small little cool brand here that actually has all 3 aspects of the strategy nailed down: their product, their offer, and their creative, right? And I'm going to show you guys exactly how they have each nailed down and why it's so important, and how they really don't have to focus too much on their advertising strategy because these 3 main pillars, like I mentioned, are going to be taking them along the way and definitely throughout the long run. So the brand is called Brightbox. Now quickly, let's hop on over to their social media so you can kind of see what is exactly that they're offering, right? So it's a happy care package, right? Your secret to being everyone's most thoughtful friend. Send some happy mail starting today at just $5. So remember when I said keep it simple, stupid, right? Their product and their offer is super simple, right? It's a gifting boxes, right? And you can simply send some happy mail simply starting at $5 each. And when you hop onto their website, there's a few things that I want to go ahead and get right out of the way. First of all, their creative is awesome. Even when you're looking at their social media, it's super bright, super eye-catching, and it's super up to date in terms of using like these TikTok style ads, right? You can see how their creative is really relatable to the people that they're going to be advertising to in their average consumer. But a few things I want you to quickly note as well, guys, is when we hop on into their website, what they've actually done with their offer to help this brand scale to being well over a 7-figure brand. So when you go ahead and hit send box, right, the whole idea is that you're gifting people these boxes. And first of all, there are customized boxes, but they have these this amazing offer where they have these basically predetermined gift boxes where it's super simple, right? Like I mentioned, guys, in terms of creating that product, they're not reinventing the wheel. These are small, simple gifts where the products that are inside these gifts, again, are super simple. They're socks, candy, lip balms, little snacks, chips, face masks. This is nothing elaborate, and they're not reinventing sliced bread like I mentioned. They have these pre-made packaged gifts that you can send to anyone, and the good thing here is that the offer sort of sells itself, right? You're supposed to be sending happy mail. Once you get it, you're supposed to sort of pass it on and, send over the nice vibes to someone else. But one of the cool things that they have here that they've integrated in terms of their offer to increase their AOV and increase their lifetime value, when you actually select a certain box and you go to the next step, they hit you with a ton of different add-ons where you can customize the box to make it, to your liking, to whoever you're sending it to. Maybe they like these certain things. And by doing this is essentially kind of like when you go to McDonald's and they upsell you on some small fries. This is exactly what this brand is doing with all of these different little options and add-ons. When you take you to the next step, again, they have another upsell here, nonprofit donation, which is super, super cool. So they have the ability to actually donate, and right, in terms of their offer, they're using a cause. So it's not just, hey, come buy these products. It's more so about gifting, giving back to people, but as well as they have a nonprofit side of their business as well. So again, that's a really cool side and a cool part to their offer. And again, even more things to upsell on and make their product unique, right? How you can select a specific card here. And then once you're go ahead and done, go to the next step. And again, you can send a VR virtual message or a traditional printed message. Like I mentioned, guys, they're not really reinventing the wheel. They have just nailed down their product and their offer that not only does it sell itself, but they have amazing creative as well. Like I mentioned, you don't necessarily need to be spending a shitload on marketing, excuse my language. So you can see how they have cool little videos like this, which this is awesome types of creatives that work amazing on social media, and especially in terms of marketing your business overall. So if you guys can combine all three aspects like this brand Bright Boxes, you're going to basically beat your competitors every single time. And like I mentioned, you're not going to be having to spend tens of thousands of dollars on advertising every single month, because even though that is a great thing to do to help your brand scale in the beginning, right, you're going to be focusing on a little bit more cash flow and things like that. So focusing on these three things is going to allow you to get your head out of finding out what's the best Facebook ad strategy and how you can use, like I mentioned, these three pillars to help grow your brand and beat your competitors. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the next tip, which is something you guys may not like to hear, and it's actually going to be whoever can profitably acquire a customer and spend the most on Facebook to do so is going to win every single time. So what does this mean? Who can spend the biggest budget? Who has the deepest pockets? Not exactly, right? Key words that I said there was who can profitably acquire a new customer and spend the most to do so. So what I'm going to do right now is give you guys the tale of two stories, and it's simply going to be this, right? We have store A and we have store B. Okay, so store A has a product cost of $5. They actually sell their product for $20, but they have a max cost per acquisition of $15. And then we have store B on the other hand, right, where they have their product cost being $20. They sell their product for $50 and a max cost per acquisition of $30. Okay, so who wins? Right? Well, like I mentioned, it's who can spend the most money profitably to acquire a customer on Facebook. So let's just say that both of these stores are targeting the same customers on Facebook. We know that Facebook works like an auction house, meaning if these guys are targeting the same audiences, Facebook's going to give the winners and the sales to whoever can spend the most to acquire those customers profitably. So every single time, I think we know that store B is going to win. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, so what can we do to get like store B and get those types of results and win like store B? Well, it's really simple. You just need to focus on three things, right? And number one is going to be having a profit margin where it's at least, every single time you're making a sale, at the bare minimum, you're making at least $25 to $30, because anything less than that, it's going to be really hard for you to profitably scale your brand online using advertising, because in today's world of Facebook ads, maybe back in 2017, 2018, 2019, maybe would have been able to do this, but you're really not going to be getting a cost per acquisition at scale at anything under $15. So if you're not even making that profit per sale after everything is said and done, you're going to be losing money every time you acquire a new customer on Facebook. So that's something to think about, is really having those higher profit margins, which is going to allow you to scale your brand and spend more than your competition. And secondly, it's going to be focusing on things like your average order value, your AOV, right? Focusing on that and how you can increase that number and get more money out of each individual customer. So what can you do to increase your AOV? Small little things like bundles, upsells, small things like this, where, like I mentioned, you can get more out of each individual customer. And there's a ton of different apps on Shopify that you can use to get your customers to spend a little bit more, and like I said, increase your AOV. And then lastly, you want to be focusing on your lifetime value of your customers, because it's actually costing way less to basically market to your repeat customers, get them to buy multiple times instead of acquiring a new customer. So using things like email marketing and SMS are going to be key to help you grow and scale not only your lists that you actually own, right? Because that's another thing that's so key, is by owning these email lists and these SMS lists, you actually own these, right? Facebook can't shut down for a day, and like a couple months ago when Facebook ended up shutting down, a lot of people were screwed because they didn't have email lists that were built out. And now that's so important because, like I mentioned, it's going to give you the ability to grow your lifetime value and ultimately grow your brand in the long run. And with combining these three things, guys, it's allowed us to outscale our competition and really grow our clients' brands tremendously by, like I said, focusing on these three things. Because why? We can acquire a customer that much more profitably and spend that much more to do so against our competitors. Now, the reason this is also more important as time goes on, as iOS 14, all these different iOS changes, more advertisers are coming onto the platform every single day. It's becoming more and more expensive to advertise on these platforms. So the way to win moving forward is become a better marketer and focus on all three of these aspects, because it's going to allow you to win and it's going to allow you to control what you actually can control instead of worrying about things like your CPM. Okay guys, so to end this video off, the final thing that I've learned over this past year and spending over $1 million on Facebook ads is that this platform is ever changing, right? It's changing monthly, if not weekly at this point. And over this last year, we've seen the biggest changes to Facebook ads ever with iOS 14 and even email marketing with iOS 15. So really focusing on the three most important aspects that we discussed about in this video: your product, your offer, and your creative, is going to allow you to overall become a better marketer and not kind of fall slave to these ad platforms. Because like I said, falling in love with a certain ad buying strategy is great, but most likely if things are going to change within the next 6 months, and you need to have the ability to focus on these three things that are evergreen. These are never going to change. And if you can focus on these three things, you're going to win every single time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video about what I learned over the last year spending over $1 million. And I hope you guys learned a little bit more and some insights as well. And I hope you guys can take this with you and really start focusing on those three pillars. That way you can become a better marketer and overall a better brand owner, better marketer, better agency owner, etc. Whatever you are watching this video, I hope this video helped you and gave you a lot of insight. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Speak soon.